introduction. Now for Professor Bari Green. Bari Green completed his PhD at the University of Cape Town in 1984 and was a lecturer at Stellenbosch University. He was a lecturer at Stellenbosch University before spending 10 years as before spending 10 years as a research scientist at the University of Heidelberg in Germany, where he obtained the habilitation degree in 1995. In 1996, he returned to Stellenbosch University, where he was appointed chair of the mathematics department in 2002 and executive head of the Department of Mathematics Sciences in 2006. He has been closely involved with the growth of the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. He received the South African Mathematical Society Award for Research Distinction. And for more information, you can find it in your folders. Please, Mr. Bari, I remind you of the time. You have 20 minutes.
Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank the Ministry of Education and especially the organizers for inviting me to address you today. And what I'm going to talk about is a specific model of an education system that we have adopted in the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences in Cape Town, and then I'm going to tell you about what we call our next Einstein initiative. This is an initiative to grow these systems and institutes throughout Africa. Now, let me read a statement to you. The Éims project was born from the profound belief which we and our colleagues shared in the enormous intellectual potential of young African people and in the importance of enabling this potential to blossom. It was born, too, out of the frustration with a steady de-emphasizing of higher education in the development agenda as defined, for example, by the Millennium Development Goals, because the future of the world will be knowledge-driven. And to deny Africa advanced knowledge is to deny it a future. If the development agencies won't do it, then we ordinary citizens, scientists and mathematicians need to take on that responsibility ourselves. So mathematics is singular in the sense that it is above any particular culture. Whether you are from China or Madagascar, or from Brazil or China, 2 + 2 is 4. Mathematics is a powerful unifier of peoples, allowing us to overcome our differences just because it appeals to our rationality. And of course, because the world around us, the reality we share, is comprehensible in a mathematical way. Now, if we take out our cell phones and we look at this is an iPhone. Most of us have smartphones nowadays. But the smartphone really has quantum mechanics in it, it has theoretical physics in it. Most of what we use when we communicate requires a mathematical base. What we felt is we need young people to have access to this and to be able to contribute. And at this institute, that's what we're doing. So let me tell you where it is. This institute is situated near Cape Town, and it is an educational and research center whose goals are to promote the mathematics and science in Africa, to recruit and train talented students and teachers, and to build capacity for African initiatives in education, research, and technology. Now, this could happen anywhere. It need not happen in Africa. But simply in Africa, the need is so great. That's why we did it there, and we come from Africa. So the training is focused around a 9-month postgraduate course. There are specialized courses as part of regular master's programs. There are research and training workshops. We have a research center, and it interacts with 3 partner universities in our region, as well as Oxford, Cambridge, and Orsay. Now, what is different about our model? These are the facilities. Our model, the difference about our model is it's based on a 9-month course, which has a skills component, and it has a review component, and it has a research component. Mathematical science is involved in problem solving. We've heard today a lot about problem solving methods, problem solving techniques. Our students come in from all over Africa. We accept 50 to 55 each year. Every year we accept 50 to 55 from all over Africa. You can see the green are the areas, are the regions where we've accepted our students from. The yellow are regions where we now have students who have applied from, and the orange are regions where we've had applications but no students yet. Okay. So each year these students arrive, it's Pan-African. In the first 3 months they are doing skills and computational courses. Afterwards we have review courses touching on various aspects because we want them to be broad. And after this we go into a research phase. Let me tell you a little bit about what our students do. Our students do 16% do mathematics, 11% do numerical and computational mathematics, some do computer science, some do mathematical biology, some do mathematical finance, some do physics-related things, and others do, and 4% do just general engineering and that sort of thing. We have discovered that this is a powerful unifier of the cultures and the groups that we work with in Africa. Each year, we have 312 applicants. We select 50. We have seen how these students develop and grow. They spend 1 year with us. Afterwards, they go out and do masters or PhDs, and some of them go to Europe, the US, and elsewhere, but many of them come back to Africa. And in fact, we have had to date, we've had 305 who have graduated, of whom 70% are still in Africa. This is the graduation ceremony, and you can see our Minister of Education in the middle there. This is the one that has just passed. So if we look at what our students do, this is a postgraduate degree. So all our students have done 4 years of a mathematical type qualification. It need not be mathematics, it could be physics, it could be computer science, statistics, any one of these areas. But where do they go after we've finished with them? They go into health and biosciences, into business, into natural resources, into ICT, and into pure science. If we look at what they've achieved, well, we've got a number that have achieved masters after this. We've got a number, some went directly to a PhD, others have gone on and are doing PhDs, some have gone into teaching, and others have gone into industry. So to date, we've had 120 masters achieved after Éims, 15 PhDs, all in mathematical science, 110 masters in progress, and 114 PhDs in progress. What we emphasize at Éims is that it's a learning experience and a participating experience, not a being taught experience. We want people to be involved, to interact, and actually find the solutions. We have 47 now working in academia and 21 working in industry. Now, as part of our mission, we also involve the schools, and we have an outreach program called our Schools Enrichment Center, and we offer professional development courses for teachers, and in this case we've taught over 662 teachers, because in Africa the need is really very, very extreme. We have special certificates as well, and that's what we're doing in that line. We have a research center. So our themes are to do with mathematical modeling in a multidisciplinary context. We do mathematical physics, mathematical foundations, and scientific computation. Now this model that we've introduced has been quite successful. It's been running for 7 years, and it has grabbed the imagination of a number of people. The founder, Neil Turek, received the TED Prize about 4 years ago, and last year it received the Google 10 to the 100, one of the awards. 5 were made, and the Éims project was regarded as one out of over 160,000 entries. So, and a real success because it's making a difference. I would like to show you a little bit about the kind of work that we are doing. We've decided to expand this into other areas of Africa through what we call our Next Einstein initiative. The Next Einstein is not to say that this will be one person, and it's not to say that this person will definitely come from Africa. The idea is to equip people so they can become involved. It might be one person, it might be a group of people, but it's to give them the tools so that they can actually contribute, and to recognize that in any community, in any culture, there is great talent. You have got to give it the opportunity to show you what it can do. That is our principle. Okay? So what is the AIMS NEI project? Well, it is an ambitious plan to create a network of AIMS centers across Africa. Its mission is to enable Africa's outstanding mathematical science graduates to flourish as independent thinkers, problem solvers, and innovators capable of propelling Africa's future educational, scientific, and economic self-sufficiency. One of the great problems in Africa is that we always get things from the outside. We have to start doing things ourselves. And this is a contribution in that direction. So where are we starting? We have a center in Cape Town already. We have received funding. We have a center also in Nigeria. We are starting one in Senegal. And we plan to open one, that'll open this year. We plan to open another one in Ghana in 2012. And following this, if everything works out, in Ethiopia in 2013. This is a vision to have a number of centers having a Pan-African dimension. One of the key elements of our institution is it must be diverse. So if you look at our makeup, we have one third of our students are women, and they come from about 33 different countries in Africa. We try and select our students, of course, based on the different mathematical sciences, having a spread, and based on region, and based on gender. So this is where we are at the moment. So the first phase, I've just listed it. We have AIMS South Africa, AIMS Abuja in Nigeria, and AIMS Senegal, and AIMS Ghana. These are our logos. This is the center that was opened in AIMS Abuja in 2008. The people involved. So, but the greatest testimony to our success is what our students do. This is the case in all universities. The greatest testimony to what we can do depends on what our students do. And they are the real stars of the story. And we are quite convinced that AIMS will shine simply because we have the best students coming there and that they are making a difference. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now to Professor Mac Alivi. Tony Mac Alivi is Educational Director of CFBT Educational Trust. He has over 30 years experience in education, and has overall responsibility for school inspection in the north of England. He has a global responsibility for the education impact of CFBT activities. He has a responsibility. No. He works on education reform worldwide and current clients, including the World Bank. World Bank, the European Union, and the governments of Singapore, Australia, and UK. Tony has extensive Gulf experience, having worked on major projects in UAE, Bahrain, Oman, and Qatar.
بحرين وعمان وقطر.
Tony has personal management responsibility
كان لديه خبرة إدارية
for the inspection of school quality
بالنسبة لجودة التفتيش على جودة المدارس
in 6,000 government schools in the northern region of England.
حوالي 6,000 مدرسة في إنجلترا
Northern region of England.
في الجزء الشمالي من
Yes.
إنجلترا.
He has particular interest in the question of teacher quality and teacher supply.
لديه اهتمام بجودة التدريس المدرسين.
And is currently leading a senior consultancy for the Ministry of Education in Oman
هو مسؤول عن يقدم الاستشارة إلى وزارة التعليم
relating to teachers' quality and
فيما
development.
يختص بتطوير أداء المدرسين وتطوير الجودة لديهم أيضا.
He has over 30 years worldwide experience in education
أكثر من 30 سنة خبرة على المستوى العالمي كما قلنا
and,
التعليم.
and is a graduate of the University of Oxford.
وهو أحد خريجي جامعة أكسفورد.
Professor Tani, you have 20 minutes.
بروفيسور توني لديه 20 دقيقة لتقديم ورقته.
Shukran.
Okay.
Salam alaikum.
شكرا.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege to be here in the Kingdom and to be speaking at this important conference. My presentation is titled A Case Study from England, the Ofsted Model for the Improvement of Public Education. Although I will be describing our experience in England, it is absolutely not my intention to suggest that the English model should be exactly copied by other people. Each country must have its own distinctive approach to quality management. However, of course, we must learn from each other, and it is in that spirit of partnership and dialogue that I present this case study. Let me explain about two organizations, Ofsted and CFBT. Ofsted is the government agency for education quality in England. CFBT is a non-profit education company and the partner of Ofsted. We organize all inspections in the northern third of England. So, for example, all inspections in the great footballing cities of Liverpool, Manchester, and Newcastle. As Education Director for CFBT, I am responsible for about 2,000 inspections each year. We inspect government schools, private schools, technical colleges, and university teacher training. CFBT also provides technical assistance in the development of school quality for government bodies across the world. As has been described, we are working in many countries, including many Gulf countries. So, how did Ofsted begin? The first government school inspectors in England were appointed in 1837. The system of school quality review changed dramatically in 1992 when Ofsted was established, with its first inspections carried out in 1993. And I was personally there in 1993, me as an inspector, during the first week of Ofsted in action. Seems a long time ago. Ofsted is the short form for the Office for Standards in Education. It is independent of the ministry. The head of Ofsted is Her Majesty's Chief Inspector of Schools and reports to the Queen and Parliament, not the ministry. At the same time, Ofsted provides vital information to the ministry about particular schools and school quality in general, and they have a good relationship. Ofsted was established in 1992 as part of a wider strategy for school reform. The other reforms of the period were school choice, parents could send their children to any government school that had a free space, greater school autonomy and financial decision-making at a school level, a new national curriculum setting out age-related expectations for each subject, and a new system of national assessment through public tests for all children, age 7, 11, 14, 16. The results of these tests were published so that parents could see how well their local schools were doing. So what was the reason behind this particular reform strategy? At the time, there was widespread public unhappiness about school standards. The establishment of Ofsted and the reforms of assessment, curriculum, and choice were driven by a government that believed in parent power as a lever for school improvement. The logic was, give parents objective information about school performance, and they will create a change dynamic for improvement through choice and through local pressure for improvement at a community level. So, some features of the work of Ofsted have remained constant since the first inspections in 1993. These include a public framework setting out quality expectations for key indicators, a model of school excellence based on international school effectiveness research, and the publication of reports on individual schools with extensive press coverage. In many ways, the Ofsted method is simple. There is a preoccupation with two key outcomes: measured performance in core subjects and personal development. Ofsted say we should focus on the big outcomes. Schools exist so that students should do well academically and so that they can be helped to become good people. It's not that complicated. In addition to the key outcomes, Ofsted is preoccupied with two key inputs. Inputs that we know from the research are the powerful factors for good schools. And you will not be surprised to see that they are teaching quality and school leadership. One important aspect of the work of Ofsted is what happens after an inspection. Inspections are taken very seriously because they have consequences, and dramatic consequences, for schools identified with serious weaknesses. They are put into a category known as special measures. Ofsted requires rigorous improvement planning for such schools, with frequent monitoring visits. Poor inspection reports lead to frequent staff changes, particularly at principal level, if the principal does not have the ability to lead the school on the improvement journey. These changes can be painful on a personal level. But sometimes we think we must put the interest of the children above the interests of the staff. The children only have one chance of a school education. And we think it is our moral responsibility to ensure that this one chance experience is good. I said before the approach was relatively simple. You see this simplicity in the way inspectors always ask the same three big questions. How well are the pupils doing? How effective is the teaching? How effective are leadership and management? All evaluations use the same grading scale, 4 points: outstanding, good, satisfactory, inadequate. Standards or descriptors are provided for each area of school life at these 4 levels. You will not be able to see the writing, but this is an example of the standards on the 4-point scale with a statement of excellence at the top. There have been some important changes in inspection since it began in 1993. An increasing emphasis on school performance data. Inspectors and the school use the same comparative data, and school performance is benchmarked, so we can see how well a school is doing compared to other schools. Now, this is powerful evidence. There is also an increasing role for students in the process. Their attitudes are surveyed, and there is a letter to students after the inspection telling them about the inspection findings. Inspections are, we say, proportionate to risk. So the frequency and the size of the inspection team is reduced for good schools and increased for weak schools, based on the previous inspection and any other data. Short notice inspections have been introduced, a maximum of 2 days' notice. Maybe the most important change is a big emphasis on the inspection as a check on the school's own self-evaluation. Now, this does not make the inspection less rigorous. The question is, how well does the school know itself? And we think that a school that does not know itself well cannot be a good school. So what do we know about the impact of Ofsted inspections? There have been several independent studies of the impact of Ofsted on schools, and Ofsted conduct many internal surveys to assess impact. The research literature suggests that Ofsted has been successful at raising quality in the weakest schools, but has less impact on mediocrity, on changing schools in the middle. We know that the system is popular with parents. The Ofsted school website gets nearly 2 million hits per month. Okay? Can I say that again? 2 million hits per month. That's parents. An amazing statistic. In a recent national survey, 80% of parents whose children's school had been inspected recently felt that the inspection was helping the school to improve. I would briefly like to consider the Ofsted model in a theoretical context. The scholars, Professors Fullen and Barber, have argued for an approach to education system reform that balances the forces of challenge and support. They would see Ofsted as a high challenge intervention. They say high challenge and low support leads to conflict and poor motivation. I think they're right. What is needed, they say, is high challenge and high support. The implication of the work of Fullen and Barber is that a national strategy for improving education quality needs a powerful accountability component. But it's not enough. Such a strategy also needs to focus on other key levers for change, including student assessment, teacher supply, teacher professional development. Teachers need training, teachers need excellent resources. They need incentives, they need good motivation. So inspection is not enough. We say it's necessary but not sufficient. A robust inspection system such as Ofsted may be necessary, but it's only one part of a good national strategy for quality improvement. I would like to conclude by returning to the idea of parent and community pressure as a force for change. Maybe you are familiar with the concept of the long and short routes of accountability, developed by World Bank economists. The long route of accountability is the traditional model found all over the world.
Professor Tani, 5 minutes left.
Teachers report to principals, principals report to district officials report to the central ministry officials report to senior civil servants report to ministers. The chain of accountability is very long and it breaks easily. All over the world, ministers find that they cannot just flick a switch and expect quality transformation everywhere. This long route of accountability is a weak mechanism for change at classroom level. The short route of accountability occurs when local communities have direct access to quality information about local public services. This short route of accountability allows service users, in this case parents, to apply moral pressure for change at a local level. Ofsted appears to be a successful example of the short route of accountability in action. I would like to end on this point. I hope I have given you some food for thought, and I wish you well in your important work. Shukran.